music. I mean, tonight's project is a blues band, really. Terrapin is a blues band, so I would say it's blues. But blues not in the archival sense or the preserved, stylistic sense or genre, but it's a blues feeling with a lot of incorporation of contemporary grooves of all kinds. I've been playing guitar since 1968. First instrument was really piano, and I played classical piano as a child. I began to play clarinet in 1959 when I was 8 years old. Classical clarinet, and then I began playing saxophonist around 1972, starting with alto, then moving from there in one direction to soprano and in the other to tenor, and bass clarinet. I can't say that I really had a mentor, but I had a few great teachers. At Bard, Roswell Rudd, who taught mainly through example, just from hanging out. That's how we really learned things. And Roswell is a fantastic trombonist and composer and musicologist. And later in Buffalo, Charles Kyle, also a musicologist, and Roswell's first cousin, coincidentally enough. And I hooked up with these two great people and great teachers. And after that, I was also studying with Martin Feldman and LaJar and Hiller in Buffalo. And Hiller was very, very open. Feldman, I appreciated his brilliance, but Hiller was very open and encouraged me to try and find reasonable solutions to all of my kind of compositional dilemmas. His thing was always about finding the system that works for whatever you're trying to do. Not just here's how, this is good, this is bad, nothing judgmental. Well, the notion of what jazz is and how people learn it is a loaded question, of course, because when it started being taught in universities, you had a lot of people learning the proper way. Well, you play these notes on these chords, and it began to codify things that had actually finally escaped the codification that the rules of various genres define. You saw a lot of incredible music developing in the Loft scene in the late 60s and early 70s, music of the AACM, music of the Black Artist Group, music of AMM and the European scene, and music of electronic diva, that were really opening up the definitions of what jazz was and what improvisation was. And then you had a lot of reactionary neoconservatives taking power and saying jazz is this and it's not this. And of course the marketing people then took over. And the universities and other educational institutions work together with marketing. So you really have, on the one hand, a lot of people learning to play really, really well. I look at the technical level of these musicians that are coming up today, and I'm astounded at the quality of their playing. The quality of technique. The question is, does it move me? Usually not. I don't feel like they're inventing music. I don't feel like they're pulling music out of the depths of the soul. They're not making music that they learned, playing in the trenches, as it were. They learned in classes, they did their homework, they practiced, they played beautifully. Does it change my chemistry? No. Does it change the air around them as I play? I don't think so. But that's just me saying. I've heard a lot of incredible music over the years. Being old, I've gotten to hear a lot of stuff. And I want to be amazed. I want to have the top of my head taken off. And sheer technique doesn't do that. I'm happy to watch a technical player, and I have some students that say, "Oh man, you got to see so-and-so." I say, "Yeah, they're great. It's incredible." It's completely predictable to me, and I don't want predictability. I want to be completely surprised, and swept living out of my whole frame of reference. Well, the question of what is jazz is a question, and I'll leave it as a question because different people define it. If it's the marketing people, they're going to define it as this music made by this demographic for this and sold in this way, Starbucks or whatever. Other people think about the bebop era and they say the end of jazz stopped in 1964 and nothing else is jazz. Or other people say, well, jazz began in 1970, So I don't even know. Some people ask, are you a jazz musician? And I say, I don't really recognize these ideas of genres. Of course, I've listened to jazz all my life. I love the music. And it's informed much of the music we make and the way we play. But is it jazz? they would probably say no, and I would probably say no. Well, you know, I do feel that blues is a feel. I mean, of course, the blues as an Afro-American music really exists as this thing with very deep historical roots here, and represents, the cultural manifestation of the people struggling with slavery. And of course, you see that music. But if you look at it musicologically, there's elements in Elizabethan music in the 12-bar form. Blues is always drawn. Poor people were poor people. When they were living in the country, they drew from each other's music. You hear a lot of white hillbilly music. Charlie Patton, Robert Johnson, all the country blues players, they played whatever. They played waltzes, they played Scottish tunes, they played ballads. I mean, I think the music genreification is not ritual, it's chorus, and as someone who loves music, I feel like I can contribute something. Of course, I learned at the Masters to recognize where that tradition comes from, but if I feel like it's some way to the great body of what music is, then I'm not going to not do it because of this culture, that culture. I like the fact that the Jazz Foundation helps musicians in a very concrete way. That's the most important thing. Because a lot of musicians, whether circumstance or forces of nature, end up in non-domestic situations. Some of the most creative musicians have died young. We were talking about this earlier. And people say, oh, they had to because the music was no, they didn't have to die young. They shouldn't have died young. If the Jazz Foundation can prevent that, that's great.